to episode 88 of the Grove podcast. I hope you're all doing very well and enjoying having Arsenal and Bukayo Saka back in your life. But man, this season certainly likes to remind us Arsenal fans not to get too ahead of ourselves and not to enjoy it too much without getting a kick in the guts or a punch in the guts or wherever else it hurts every time things are looking on the up. Now, I'm normally Mr. Positive, sometimes too positive, which can annoy people. But the more I think about the possible consequences from last night, the more somber my mood becomes. So I could do with some cheering up. And the person who has that job today, someone who's always in good spirits, and someone I'm sure can bring some cheer to mine and all our lives is Ian, aka Ask Cannon Picks. Ian, how are you? And please tell me everything's going to be all right.
No, we're fucked.
All right, and that's it, folks. See you next week.
We'll talk to you after the Everton game. No, look, it's last night was it was bittersweet, but we'll get into the meat and drink of it. But look, there's plenty of reasons to be positive, and we'll go through that. We're not dead yet. We're not dead yet.
That's great. When things are going, we're not dead yet, and that's the best we can hope for. Oh boy. Well, look, let's hope we can use this a bit of, as you know, it's not all bad, and there are positives and there are highs. It's just, I think, the overriding feeling of everyone, they can't get over that little nagging Real Madrid doubleheader next over the next couple of weeks. But as you said, we'll get to the details of that, and we'll try and have a bit of fun, and what will be. So look, in today's show, we're going to look back at the highs and lows of last night's deserved but not quite decisive win against Fulham, and then we'll take a look at another tricky fixture at the weekend when we make our final visit to Goodison Park, when we take on Everton in the early Saturday afternoon kickoff. So as we do, and I think this is going to be pretty easy. this one. Ian, what was your highlight and low light of yesterday's game?
Gee, let me think. What could I possibly pick? Well, look, we're rather than just both of us pick the same things. No, I'll tell you what.
I'll give you the open goals. You can have the open goals. Don't worry.
All right, okay. I'll take Saka's return. I'll give you the low light open goal. I'll take the highlight open goal. No, yeah. Well, look, it was just the crowd reaction to Saka coming on, and I heard somebody else mention that it was exactly like Thierry Henry when he came back that time against Leeds in the FA Cup, and just gave us that beautiful lift that we needed, and for him to score soon after that, it was absolutely wonderful. My low light, I'm going to leave you with the tap in, but my low light was like the aftermath of what's going to be your low light is just how we finished that game, and like kind of what's now staring us potentially in the face against probably the best team in the world. So that's my low light.
Yeah, indeed. So look, I'll take my highlight. Of course, the Saka return, and you're right, the crowd noise. I think it was louder than the cheer from Marino's opener. Even when he just came off the bench to warm up and so on. So everyone was very pleased, very excited about his return and his goal. For me, the highlight, if you're not going to take the obvious one, is Martinelli's performance. He was really good. He was our biggest threat, just attacking. Castagna's still having nightmares about that game and that nutmeg. I think he's going to keep his legs closed now for the rest of the season after that. And it's just a great all-round performance, and in particularly the touch for the second goal. I don't care whether it was intentional or not, but it was just such a beautifully weighted, perfect touch, and could not have made it any easier for Saka. And actually, if you after he scored, everyone actually went to celebrate more with Martinelli than they did with Saka. Saka was sort of standing on his own for a minute, and he had to turn around to, where's everybody? And eventually all joined him. But initially it was with Nelly, and it was a shame he didn't get his goal. Yeah, that unfortunately was offside. But so I'll take Nelly's performance. And of course the big low light is Big G Gabriel's injury. just chasing back, chasing back Traore. Just hamstring. I didn't actually know. I couldn't see in the ground what it actually was, and got the messages on the text, and hamstring. And yeah, best case scenario it's 3 weeks. Worst case scenario it could be a season done. We just don't know, and stuff like that. And then to compound that, the Timber injury. Now, hopefully that was just precautionary, but yeah, there you go. But man, this season just just keeps on giving.
Just awful. When I was watching on TV. Obviously, I wasn't at the game, unfortunately, and the way the camera angle went, so Traore broke and Big G pulled up, but then Arsenal regained possession and the camera moved away. So for about 10 seconds, I didn't know whose hamstring had gone. I knew it was either Gabriel or Saliba's, and it was weird because I was like, "Oh my god, which one do I want that to be?" Like I didn't want it to. Wow. I didn't want it to be either of them, obviously, but I was like I had this literally 1,000 things went through my mind in those 10 seconds, and then the camera just turned to Gabriel, and I couldn't believe it. I was just devastated.
Yeah, no, it was like, oh yeah, actually, it's interesting for that. So in the stadium, we're obviously seeing Gabriel down, and he's not one for staying. Well, it went on long enough to think, no, he's not faking this. Especially because we were attacking, and the ball was miles away. He wasn't even just trying to get up gently or anything. No, you could tell something was serious. Just to interrupt, they're looking at, I think, a Tarkowski red card potentially, but. I don't know, against the little Argentinian McAllister, but anyway, yeah. So you could see something was wrong was up with him, but we wouldn't give the ball away. We were attacking and we didn't kick the ball out. And then Fulham get the ball, and then we want everyone. The players want Fulham to kick the ball out, but hey, we had the chance to, and we didn't. And he got up, and you saw him getting up and going back down again, and it was it was a sorry sight, and you could just tell. It wasn't good from the off.
But, no, you know from the reaction, and when the physios and whatnot came on, and even before that, when Saliba went over to him, like when the camera zoomed in on Gabriel, and he was just shaking his head. He knew that this wasn't a good one, and not that there's ever a good injury, but just heartbreaking.
We'll get into the consequences of that and what it means along with everything else. So look, the lineup. So we had Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel for 15 minutes. Lewis Skelly, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Martinelli, Winery, and then on the bench, two names that we were sort of surprised to see. One obviously was Saka, and then there's this kid called Gower. I mean, everyone was like, "Who the hell? Who's Gower?" Apparently it was some midfielder, but yeah, I think just there to make up the number. So what were your thoughts on the lineup? As expected anything different? Do we have to just focus on the game in hand and ignore the Madrid game? Yeah. So what were you thinking when you saw that? Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much our full strength first choice team.
The only question would be whether Saka was going to start or not, and I'm kind of glad that Arteta erred on the side of caution, because we don't want to rush Saka back. So literally the last thing we want is for something to happen to him again. And yeah, it's a weird one in terms of the season, the league season. Like, you could argue that literally our season is the next two Madrid games, but we do have to show due diligence in the league as well, just in case, because you cannot have a situation where somehow Liverpool lose 2 of their next 3 games, just something weird happens, and we don't take advantage. We've done that a few times this season, where anytime Liverpool drop points, we drop points the same weekend. And I think we just have to take care of business in the league, even though, like, you could see the crowd wasn't really up for it. There was lots of empty seats at the game, and you can understand why, but we can't. The team and the management cannot take their eye off the Premier League either, just in case.
Yeah, and look, I still want us to finish second, and look, Forest beat Man United yesterday, so there's still 4 points plus goal difference behind us. So we've got to do our due diligence there. You've got to the crowd are coming in and the rest of it. So you got to respect that, respect the competition. The players want to play. These are footballers. Our ideal footballer is one that never plays. By the sounds of things. So it's like it is what it is. I guess. Yeah. To be honest, we didn't really have a huge amount of choice in defence. So White, White was out, so Timber had to play. I think I would have preferred White to potentially start just to get some minutes into his legs. And so, I mean, Timber had been ill, so even though he was fit, that can have some consequences around that. But we couldn't work out whether it was White was out because of childbirth. His missus, they're due to give birth, but Arteta said at the end that he had a niggle on his knee. So I would have liked to have seen White. We're sticking with Merino up top, so it was just a case of 2 out of Nelly, Ethan, and Leo, and then of course said on the bench we had Saka. So yeah, well, it wasn't. I wasn't expecting any difference. And look, Calafiori's out, so Skelly has to play. So yeah. So in terms of defence, not much choice, and then everyone else, we got to still do the honours. So look, overall, in terms of the game, we pretty much, in terms of like Phil tilt, you can see it's majority Arsenal until the last 10-15 minutes after Timber. But we had 2.38 expected goals to their 0.99, so that's pretty much what the score suggested. We had 17 shots, which was a good number, 9 against. We had 4 shots on target. We had 2 big chances. We took our big chances. I don't know. I'm not sure you count Marino's as a big chance.
Yeah.
So look, we did all right. I think we deserved to win. Even if it wasn't the most dominant, exciting performance, especially the first half. Second half was much better. First half was a bit stodgy. What were your overall thoughts around the game? How we played, how Fulham set up, and how we tackled the game?
Yeah, I think we just took care of business. We weren't electric. I don't think it was ever going to be that type of a game, especially after an international break. It was a typical international break or post-international break game. But yeah, I think we fully deserved it. I was laughing because a little bit earlier on, I went onto YouTube and I just was looking for extended highlights just to jog the memory. And the first video I came upon on YouTube was the official Fulham account, their extended highlights, and it's so funny listening to like such a partisan commentary. The way they were going on, we were really lucky to have beaten Fulham, but I just found it amusing listening to them. But I think we fully deserved it without being electric, and I'm okay with that at this stage of the season.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very, as you said, very post-international break game, a very Arsenal of the moment sort of game where the first halves and trying to break teams down, we struggle. But the good thing is, I think when we go 1-0 up, we're a very hard team to beat, and I think we've shown that again, even if it got a bit dicey towards the end. But we couldn't find any rhythm or flow. So Martinelli was looking good. I think Ethan and Timber were doing okay. I thought Thomas Partey had a really, really good game. Odegaard got better. Rice was everywhere as always, and I think we just got better and better as the game went on. But Fulham came in with only one plan, and unlike the home game where we forced them into defending deep and doing a block, basically every time they're off the ball, it was 5-4-1. I mean, they were disciplined and they worked hard. There was no space for us, and the way they were jumping out to force us back, and then they got it back into shape. So there was a lot of horseshoe of death. There was a lot of just trying to manipulate them, trying to pass them, just pass the ball around to find that space. But it was tricky. And then whenever Fulham did get the ball, Traore and Jimenez on the break were really fast, and there was a couple of times where we had to chase back, and that was one of the times where Big G had to extend himself and he hurt his hamstring. But they didn't really offer much threat, so it was all about finding that breakthrough, which we did on a couple of occasions, and then we just had to ride it out. But yeah, it was a very, I think, Arsenal of the moment performance, where good in patches, not so good, and so on. So, oh, sorry, I just have to. I know. I was just about to say Everton has scored 1-0, but it's offside. So look, let's tackle the two big the high and the low moments. So and we'll do it in order of the game. So what's your feeling around the Gabriel in injury? What does it mean for the short term? What does it mean for Real Madrid? How are you feeling about it? Because again, I want to enjoy the win, but my overriding feeling is all around this. So what are your thoughts?
Well, firstly, I think the theme tune for this particular pod should be the Sounds of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. I think, like I said earlier on, you probably couldn't have picked a worse player. Him or Sleeby, you could pick to be the worst people to get injured. A shameless plug here. I wrote an article for the Gooner recently, and in it I spoke about about our chances in the Champions League, because obviously the league looked like it was pretty much gone, and I was saying that we have a decent chance in the Champions League because we have one of the best defences in the world, and that can get you through these ties. Like, we might, if we do go through against Madrid, we're not going to beat them 4 or 5-1 on aggregate. It'll be tight, and Real Madrid can be gotten at. They conceded 4 goals at the weekend, or not the weekend. I mean, yes, was it yesterday? Last night,
last
sorry,
night against Real Sociedad.
Yeah. So I mean, and they do concede goals, and if you can keep it tight against them, you have a chance, And you just felt as though one of our absolute strengths last night was ripped out of our throats, and it's not the first time we've seen it either. It happened last season when we were playing Bayern Munich, and the season before, when we were chasing the league, when you had the Saliba and Tomiyasu injuries, it's just we're just sick and tired of it. Now, it's not the end of the world, because I know we're talking about a different era, because we had a very makeshift defense in 2006 when we got to the final. Again, I know we're talking about like literally nearly 20 years ago, but it can happen. Some very strange things happen in the Champions League, and yeah, we have to make up for it. It's just going to be very interesting to see which way he goes. I cannot see him picking, and I've spoken like in a positive way about Kivior on this podcast. I do like him, but I can't see Arteta playing him in those games, and it's going to be very interesting to see if, say, Timber, and we'll cross our everything, hopefully he's fit, but if he's not fit, what do we do? And if Ben White, for example, isn't fit, what do we do? We're into Thomas Partey potentially at right back world, and we're into, even, dare I say it, Declan Rice going back. It's just it's soul destroying that we're here again after all this time, and but that's what's facing us, and we have to get on with it. And Arteta has a huge decisions to make now.
Yeah, I mean, listening to Arteta, what I think is great about his approach, he never does woe is me. He never complains. He said, right, opportunity, we're going to learn. Players are excited, yada yada. So I know he's got to say that to the press and all the rest of it. Behind the scenes, I'm sort of he's thinking, what the fuck? but yeah, you're never going to get any negativity from him. But I mean, you posted this last night. So in the space of a week, Calafiori, Ben White, Gabriel, and Timber. That's a bloody good back four.
Yeah. Somebody replied to that saying that's a championship winning back four alone.
No, and they're out in a week. I mean, it's like we're not allowed to enjoy the season. Saka returns, scores a goal. Hey, great. Oh no, fuck that. You're not allowed to. And I think I said to you beforehand, it's like you want to play these big games, these games that are going to be watched all around the world. You want to play them with your best players, make it a contest. And now I'm fearing humiliation, and we won't live that down, and people will ignore context and all the rest of it. And now it's sort of like in both legs. I'm like, I'm concerned. Depending on, there's a week to go, so let's see what happens. But we've got to play Everton in between that. But say if we do have to play Partey at right back, well, also we know what that does to the midfield. Yeah, and so and and then the other thing, just to add it to, Rice is one yellow away from missing the second leg, so God knows what's going to happen in Madrid.
Thanks, Habs. I'd forgotten about that. Thank you.
But I don't, it's unfair. We don't. It's but it's just like. It's just very frustrating. You just want to play. You want to have it a contest. You want to say, right, let's have one of the best defenses in the world, the best defensive partnership in the world against the best attacking force in the world, and let's see what happens. Let's make it a contest. Let's represent ourselves, not just great. We can have these brilliant backs against the wall, and the 2006. But I think. When you mentioned that point and earlier when I thought about it, in 2006, I think they played that back four. So it's Flamini, Senderos, Torre, and another, maybe I think it was Lauren. I don't know, but I can't remember who was the other. But they played a few games together, and I think they had a bit of momentum, and they built that. Plus, I think in front of them, they would have had the likes of, I think. Thierry Henry doing the business. So there's parallels with you could have Saka and Henry and stuff like that. So yes, there's always a chance. It's football. There's always a chance. If it was a one-off over two legs, it just makes it so hard. So
especially the second leg being over there, because that's going to be insane. And that's when you need somebody with the character of Gabriel. It's I'm going to cry.
And that's in a way, I think I would have. You said you had the choice. Was it Hobson's choice? Whatever. I think if you're going to miss one player for these two games, if you had to choose, I'd pick Gabriel, because also he's potentially one of our players of the season.
Yeah,
Saliba's great. He's silky, but just that, also the goal threat he offers. I would rather pass up on Saliba than Gabriel, but we can't do that. So so what do we do? So imagine the best case scenario. I think Calafiori's not available, but for the first leg, I don't think Calafiori will be available in a Big G. So who would you be your back four in the first leg against Real Madrid?
I think we try and find Tony Adams somewhere, and
he's playing the piano, reading poetry somewhere. I don't think he's up for it.
Yes, it's a really tough question, because obviously we don't know who is going to be fit. Let's get the worst case scenario.
White is fit, Timber's fit, Saliba's fit, MLS is fit, and Kivior's fit.
Well, then I think you play Timber in Gabriel's position, and then you play Ben White at right back. But even that's scary, because Ben White's not match fit. Like you could see that in his last few appearances. And when you have Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. Kind of running at you, you want to be at the top of your game fitness wise. So even that will be on Arteta's mind. Will he want I don't know what percentage fit Ben White would be? 70%. I don't know. Do you want that with the attacking talent that Madrid have? So it's horrible. That's probably what I would do. But then again, it would not surprise me one bit if he plays Partey at right back and Timber in Gabriel's position, and then just rejigs the midfield. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know, because also the other thing is you got Saka on the right hand side, and he's just coming back. So can he do the up and down work? Can he be the one that if White's there, because we use our wide men to help defensively. So all of a sudden you're asking Saka to be the main man up front, but also can you help out Ben White in defence? So that's a tricky one, and it's where do you have the weakness, because on the left hand side, Kivior and MLS don't have the relationship. And you could see that in the goal yesterday, and it also, again, similar to the goal we conceded against Liverpool, and so on. So you have that weakness on the left hand side, and then also, as you said, Vinny Jr. Timber is, I think, our best one-on-one defender.
Yeah.
So I think I'd want Timber against anyone coming down that left flank, our right flank, and because Saka's just coming back from injury, and I think he will start against Real Madrid. That as much as you want to be positive, you can't be stupid either. So for me, I think I would stick with Kivior there. That's his best position. And I would have him there because I think by shifting too many pieces, what you lose, and even away, I'd rather have Ben White at centre back than Timber. So because Ben White was the right-sided centre back, so maybe he can play left-sided. I don't know. It's a tough one,
Yeah.
but I think I would have Kivior. Now look, as third choice, left centre backs go. Not many teams are going to do better than a Polish international, first choice Polish international. So, yeah, so it's not ideal. Again, it's just more frustrating because you just want to go into these games with the best team and everything's were looking on the up. I said, we had Saka's coming back, and we always could rely on that defense. We could win this out with our defense, and now, yeah, it's going to be a real tough ask, and.
Yeah, but look, you never know. Kivior, as you just said there, like I mentioned earlier on, I'm a fan of Kivior. He's as you say, he's a Polish international. He could put in the two performances of his life against Real Madrid, and keep us in the tie. I was just worried a bit, like if some of the things he did last night when he came on. He gave the ball away a few times, and like he seems to take an extra touch sometimes that players can nip in and take the ball off him and put us in danger. But look, maybe it's hard to come off a bench. He's barely played the last 2 or 3 months, so to come off cold onto a pitch after 15 minutes, I suppose you can expect to have some kind of mistakes. But yeah, we just have to back him. If that's who Arteta plays, we just got to back him.
Yeah. No, totally. It is what it is. It's a strange things that happen, and then we'll discuss it more closer to the game because Everton may give us some clues, and again we'll talk about it afterwards. So look, that's the big lows. Now, does Saka's return make up for it? How happy are you to see our star boy, our talisman? I mean, it's nuts at such a young age to see him back on the pitch, back scoring. Back in the mix.
Yeah, like it was a ray of sunshine in our season to see the reaction he got. We spoke about it earlier on. To see his reaction to that, he had a lovely post today. He just said that he had to acknowledge the reaction he got. He said it was something he'll never forget, and yeah, it's a big, huge plus at the end of the season when we need it. He's now. It's weird. You look at him. He feels as though he's like 4 or 5 years older than he actually is. Like he has that kind of aura about him, and to see it like happen. Like sometimes these things, like you could even argue, like let's say, like Martinelli was exceptional last night, but Martinelli never, I don't think, has pushed on to the level Saka could, but we're watching it right in front of our eyes with Saka. He is doing it, and he is our talisman, and he is our kind of star boy, and yeah, I'm just so happy for him, so happy that he's back.
Yeah, no, it's been since about the 21st of December. He's been out. And so much has happened in that time, but also not a lot has changed in terms of his own statistics. We're still second, but yeah, no. Again, it's that rare hope. It lifts the spirits. You can see the players are lifted. He's lifted. But you're right. It's odd for someone that's, I say odd, but for someone that's so young to come back. But yeah, the reception, and I got to the ground early and. I wanted specifically just to see the warm up and just to see how it was, just to see that, and it was just nice to see him, obviously taking part in the warm up, and then when he went for his first jog up and down the touchline, yeah, it was louder than scoring a goal, and then yeah, the reception he received when he came on, it was like a standing ovation on, not a standing ovation off. So it was good. I do just find it a bit odd, this adulation of someone so young, so young in a footballer. That's not me. I'm really happy and pleased for him. But yeah, it's an odd sort of concept that we have, that our
Yeah.
happiness is reliant on a 23-year-old boy from West London. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm 51, 52 years old, for crying out loud. Come on, but no,
I know
I'm not going to
it still
I'm not
freaks
going to
me.
belittle it.
It still freaks me out that Mikel Arteta is younger than me. He's the first Arsenal manager that's younger than me. It's not right. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, what you been doing with your life? Come on.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Isaac has just scored against Brentford. There we
yeah.
go.
You
There
mean
we go. Right.
future Arsenal striker?
Yeah. Yeah, future Arsenal striker Isak has just scored for Brentford. As you might touch on that a bit later. So look, that was really pleasing. That's good. Let's focus on that, and let's see what he can bring him towards the end of the season, and maybe we're just going to have to outscore Real Madrid. So let's just outscore them, and
Yeah,
it's going to be the most fun
yeah.
you can have.
7-6 on aggregate. You heard
Yeah,
it here first.
absolutely. Absolutely. So there we go. So look, in terms of the game itself, it said it was a sort of a game of two halves. But like that, the first half, there was not a lot happening. I think our XG was 0.65 to their ones of 0.03. And yeah, that sort of summed it up. And I think the highlight was Martinelli.
He was
Getting down
sensational.
the left flank. Yeah, he was really good, positive, getting to the byline, getting in crosses. There was, he started, from the seventh minute, which ended up with a party shot, and then in the 21st minute, when Eri had a volley, which was saved by Leno. We had in between that, we had Gabriel getting hurt in the 14th, and then actually on 29 minutes, Timber went down. Now, here's a question: would you, given his history, would and ignore, and not with hindsight, were you thinking at the time we should take him off to protect him, or if he says he's okay, then let's keep him going?
Yeah, my instant reaction when he went down and the way he kind of went down and the way he was hobbling, I was like, please get him off the pitch. But obviously we're not privy to the information that Arteta and his management have, and like at no point did Arteta look concerned. There must have been some communication to him that he was okay, because he didn't, like, he was chatting to him and he was like, basically saying, when you get back on the pitch, I want you to do this and this. It wasn't, are you okay?
Yeah, I know, that made me laugh. I was laughing at that. No, he's not. Are you all right? Can you play? No, right. You got to do this. No, I was laughing. I
Yeah,
could see that. I was like, what?
yeah,
All right.
and I can only assume that he had information that he was fine, that he, like, because at first when I saw the replay, he actually took a little bit. The injury, I think, happened because he took a kick to the knee, and so, like, if it's one of those where it's just like a knock, he took a hit rather than a twist. You can hobble through that, and so it must have been something like that. But at the very start when it happened, I was kind of screaming, please take him off. But we'll just have to see how that pans out. We'll find out soon enough if it was a bad decision or not.
Yeah, we would indeed. And then on 39, we score a wonder goal. No, it was again, and actually it was a good job that Timber stayed on, and I think it was the one or only time that actually our right hand side, and we got behind them. So, like, good ball by Timber to Waneri, and he got into space behind them, and I said and Martinelli did it a few times the other time, but that was more running with the ball. This time we did it with passing and movement, and then he pulled it back to Marino, who just seemed like he was surrounded by players, but somehow managed to get a shot away, and it wasn't the strongest of shots, but and I think Leno would have collected it near post quite easily, but it sort of deflected in and went far post. And from where I was sitting, I couldn't work out how he got the shot away, or what happened. It was a bit bizarre, but I said, if you don't shoot, you don't score, and you get a bit of luck. So, and we needed that breakthrough. As I said before, when we're 1-0 up, it's we're difficult to beat. So yeah, so good for Marino. That's him now on 6 Premier League goals. So he's tied in second with Nelly and Saka. Havertz has got 9 and Trossard has got 4, which is not brilliant statistics. But
Yeah.
if you were to say that we signed someone, in January and he scored 6 goals since January, you'd be happy with that
Yeah, you would
contribution.
take
And
that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And we have a stat alert. So Ethan Nwaneri at 18 years and 11 days is the second youngest player across Europe's Big Five leagues to reach 10 goal involvements across all competitions this season. So he's got 8 goals and 2 assists, only behind some young upstart playing for Barcelona. Was that Lamine Yamal?
Never heard of
Who's
him. Never heard of him.
Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Flash in the pan. 17 years and 77 days. So look, Nwaneri, again, I think when we look back at the season, at the end of the season, it's going to be all about Nwaneri and MLS. And unless we win the Champions League, it's all going to about. Otherwise, it'll be all about Kyrgios. But no, it'll be about Nwaneri and MLS. And so to have that statistic where you weren't even within a sniff of the first team, really, at the beginning of the season, is to be compared to Lamar.
Do you think that he had to? Now that he's allowed in the dressing room, that he's turned 18, do you reckon he had to have sung an initiation song or done something?
I hope so, but I hope I don't have to see it. But so good on him. One of the boys now, or one of the men, shall we say? And well done him. So then sort of the half peters out. Apart from Partey doing his best to give Fulham an equaliser when he headed it back, and then actually nearly almost made it 2-0, but the ball just ran away from him. So that was first half. Go in 1-0 up. I think we're all fairly confident, and then the second half. Yeah, much better. 1.73 expected goals to 0.96. We had 10 shots, couple on target. So good. I found it actually quite entertaining. There were in parts back and forth. So Odegaard should have at least got it on target in the 51st minute. I think last season he scores that. This season he skies it. But then also Fulham had a few chances. Jimenez went close in the 52nd minute, and it was a great tackle by MLS because Smith Rowe was coming in to tap. Well, I don't know if it was tap it in, but the goal was open. So, what did you make of Smith Rowe's performance? From where I was, So, what did you think about his performance?
I thought he was
to the Emirates.
I thought he was fairly average. Smith Rowe can have moments that that can showcase his talents, and we know he is a very talented player. But just like at Arsenal, I think he kind of goes missing for large periods of games, and there wasn't any. I barely noticed him, to be honest, on the pitch, and that says an awful lot. I still love the kid, but I think we did the right thing still in selling them.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't really notice him. I mean, there was a marked difference when Iwobi came on, who was much more dynamic and threatening, and so on. And I think he's found his level. I think he'll be a decent Premier League player, but just finding it missing that end product, missing that threat. So nice, tidy, perfect for a club like Fulham. But I'm not sure what he's offering too much. So as you said, like him, and I think the crowd tried to start these Smith Rowe and Saka chant, but no, good luck to him. But you can see we've moved on, and he is what he is. And then 54th minute, Timber had a great run and shot a nice pass from Odegaard. So again, the right hand side starting to tick. He hit it so hard that it winded Leno. He had to get treatment.
Yeah.
And then again, chances. Saliba headed over from a Odegaard free kick. We had some really good corners. I think our corners on both sides were really good, and we had Marino and Martinelli both had chances. But then again, Fulham also had their chances with Traore. Another one with no end product, so you're never too fearful when he's running away with the ball and cleaning space because there is just nothing there. And then the big moment of the match, 66 minutes, Saka on, and then 7 minutes later for our number 7, he gets his goal, and I don't know, was it written? Was it inevitable? Of course, he scores.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he is inevitable, and look, he deserves it. He just deserves everything that happens to him. And Martinelli was brilliant because when it's funny. One criticism you can have of Martinelli is that he doesn't get his head up, and during that run, if you go back and watch it, he literally, his eyeballs are staring at the ground during that run. But he's powerful and he's quick, so I was kind of shouting at the TV, head up, and then of course he just knocks it off to the left to Marino, who did really, really well, and then that little flick was sensational as well. So what do I know? What do I know, Martinelli?
Look up, yeah, and then look. I think the easiest goal of his life. I think he's only ever sgored 3 headers. I can't imagine he'll score an easier goal. And when that went in, I just laughed.
Yeah,
I was celebrating and laughing at the time because he just, yeah, just the narrative and the story. So it was a nice bit of joy in the
yeah,
evening. And
yeah. And oh, go on.
oh, no, go on. I'll
I
do
was just going to say, and you just know that the fact that he scored will have boiled rival fans' piss as well. So that's always nice. But go on,
Yeah,
stat alert.
Stat alert, yeah. So Bukayo Saka has now scored and assisted 10 plus goals across all competitions in each of the last 3 seasons, and it's the first Arsenal player to do that since Sanchez from 2014 to 2017, and even then, I think he's still either second or top in some of the stats around assists, around the goals for Arsenal. But even in the Premier League, I think he's even scored more goals in 2025 than Cole Palmer or some stupid
Yeah,
stats like that. So look, that end product, the fact that he's still top of certain stats, just to show what is it we were talking. Is he going to break Henry's assist record? We were going to
yeah,
think we were talking about. So it's just nuts that he's been out for 3 months and he's still there, and it also shows how much what we've missed of him, and how much we've missed him. So and I think and what was nice as well, that was after he scored, I think it's what players do now. He went and celebrated with the sort of physios and the sports scientists and all those guys who helped with his rehabilitation and recovery. So that was really, really, really nice to see and do. So look, good for him, and let's hope it's one of many, as he scores 2 hat tricks against Real Madrid. And then soon after, Timber went down and went off. I mean, he walked around the whole half of the pitch, seemed to be okay. That was my subject, so I felt precautionary, but you just don't know. But then after he went off, Partey goes to right back, and Fulham all of a sudden come into the game a lot more, and they had 10-15 minutes of real big threat. And from where I was in the 81st minute, I thought it was 2-1. How did Muniz miss that absolute sitter? I mean, I think you could have scored that, Ian.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but yeah, no, he gilt edge. Like, if that's an Arsenal player, he's getting hung, drawn, and quartered by the fan base, And when I saw the ball just floating to him, he's in the middle of the box. All he's to do is just get it on target. I'm thinking 2-1, like you, thinking, oh my god, I can't believe it. And he misses. Happy days, but like, he ought to be shot for that. Like,
yeah, we got away with that, and that would have been a very tricky 10 minutes with that defence that we had, and I think we were looking vulnerable. That would have been a tricky 10 minutes, and then Sessegnon had another header, but went straight to Raya. Martinelli had his offside goal. It was a lovely pass by Odegaard, but just Martinelli, it was one of those ones that he just had to keep running. He couldn't. It's not like you could hold the run. It was just all happened at the pace it was happening. It was just, maybe just 1 second too quick. It was a shame because he deserved that goal.
He definitely deserved the goal. Deserved the goal last night. Yeah,
and he finished it really nice. And then we did have a little nervy, 90 seconds because Muniz did get his goal, and he got lucky. you know, a bit like Marino got lucky with his, but this was even more lucky because I watched it again and it hit Saliba's left boot and then right boot or whichever combination, and then went in, and Raya just wrong footed. But I think this was more to do with our defending. Would you say it was more because I feel MLS is the trigger for this goal, but I don't know. There's also talk about Kiwi not doing it.
Yeah,
Not doing a great job.
I think players are instructed to like not run at a defender. Like in Kivior's instance, you would think like naturally you'd assume that he would run towards the Fulham player, but he passes him on the responsibility onto MLS. But I think they're told to do that. I noticed that a lot. That when players are running down the wing or even kind of running towards the box, our defenders tend to like allow them to do that and then defend them when they get as the defender gets closer to them, and so I think it's an instruction for Kivior not to engage there. Plus MLS was making good ground backwards as well, but at the same time it's not great defending overall. And you're right, it took a double deflection, and if you watch it again from behind the goal, as it takes a deflection off Saliba, it comes off his left foot first. When it takes that little nick, Raya starts dancing. He doesn't start dancing. I can promise you, he didn't start
initiations to the ceremony along line Ethan.
He did not start dancing. He started dive. He started moving and started like nearly going to dive to his right, but then it takes the deflection off Saliba's right foot and goes to the left. But it was just a sloppy goal to concede.
Yeah, I think it was very similar to the goal we conceded against Liverpool. Again, MLS I think jumps out too quick and it gets easily bypassed. And yeah, you're right. Kivior passes him onto MLS, but MLS has still got chasing back to do. So So sometimes you're better off going to engage the forward, slow him down, then MLS can cover in the Kivior position or someone else. So it feels like it was a safe option sort of thing. So I think instigated by MLS, but wasn't particularly brilliant by Kiwi or either. And Sessegnon runs in and lucky, but I'm saying I'm more annoyed with the poor defending. And then we have a nervy 90 seconds, and then they have a corner, and God, anything can happen from a corner, but luckily it comes to nothing, and then it's game over. So again, a win, 3 points. I said important because City are going to win tonight. Forest won, so it's just good just to maintain that position. And just on before we move on, just on the Martinelli performance, I saw something on Twitter about Martinelli because he gets a bit of a bad rep because for what he isn't, or trying to compare him to others that we maybe don't look at so closely. Yes, he has plateaued to a bit, and his stats aren't as good as they have previously, but he's on about 0.54 non-penalty goals and assists per 90, which is 10% higher than likes of Anthony Gordon and 35% higher than the likes of Neto and Semenyo. And everyone's going, "Oh my God, Semenyo's great. Let's get him. He's fantastic. Does a great job for Bournemouth." So to have, like the likes of Anthony Gordon, everyone rates him. So sometimes I don't think you appreciate what you have, and the grass is always greener. But and maybe it does look like that in the highlights, but I don't. That's not to say I don't think we can upgrade on him. And there's rumours already about Berta talking to Nico Williams' camp and all the rest of it. But he'd be a fantastic squad player, and we will need him. And maybe he kicks on again, so a bit like us, plateaued a bit, and then we kick on again. But
Martinelli's
shows what he has.
Martinelli's stats are better this season than Nico Williams, as far as I know. I take exactly what you mean on board. Martinelli is one of those players that I think such was the hype about him that he still at a very high level, but such was the hype that we were expecting him to be, the next Mbappe or Vinicius Junior, and but he still plays at a very, very high level, and I just wish he would his final, what he does just in the final moments, like I'd love to see him
You
score
want him
more.
to get his head up.
I want him to get his head up a little bit more.
Get your head up.
Yeah, just get a few more goals and assists, and we'll be all right. But his general play is fantastic. It's really good.
Yeah. And what he offers defensively as well. There was a couple of times yesterday, so that can't be knocked either. So
No,
so good. Look, so anyway, a win's a win. We got it done. Some good and some bad points, but we move on. So before we look at the Everton game, it was announced earlier, I think earlier this week. Berta is officially announced as I think sporting director. So that covers, I think, the women's football, men's football, and other stuff as well. And then immediately came out where at the weekend where his appreciation around Gyökeres and or Victor, because that's easier to say. And so so very quickly with that in mind, a couple of questions. How would you feel about a 27-year-old, player coming to the club? Okay, he scored a great number of goals in the Portuguese league. Bit of a late developer versus someone who like Isaac, who's 20, not Isaac, Šeško, who's 21, bit more rough and ready and raw and not quite ready to go. Versus you could spend the whole summer chasing Isaac and still not get him. So where do you sit with that?
but all of that. Before I get on to the strikers, something struck me the other day that worried me quite a bit.
Okay, you weren't hit by passing someone throwing a bottle at you or anything?
No, nothing like that. It worries me sometimes how my mind works, but I can't believe I'm speaking this into existence. But the name Andrea Berta, it worries me that contains the phrase banter era within it. And I haven't slept for 3 nights thinking about that. And I just hope
very good.
I just hope that that it doesn't mean anything. But on the 3 players,
just before I'll correct you, by the way, it's pronounced Andrea Berta.
Andrea, my apologies. Sorry. We do have an Italian in front of us. I should have known.
That's my first name. I know it because I know how to pronounce it. That's my first name.
So you are the authority on that.
I am very much the authority because I've heard the alternative far too often.
Yeah, far too often. It's
fine. All good. Don't worry about it.
So
on the strikers, more importantly.
The 3 strikers. Obviously, Isaac is the one you probably want the most. But out of but you're right. You don't want to be necessarily trying to chase him for the whole summer. And Newcastle just have us, on the end of a rod for the whole summer, and just you not sell him. But out of the 2, like I was surprised and disappointed because the Gyökeres, the Victor rumours. Like they were strong at the start, but then they died off. But he was my preferred one between him and Šeško. I would have preferred because he's more rounded, I think, and like he's more experienced. People say, but can he do it in England? Now, I know it's not the same thing, but he did it in a very tough championship. Like he has played in England with Coventry. And I just think out of the 2, Arteta needs a now player. He needs somebody who's going to do it now because his career, his Arsenal career, we don't know how long more it's going to last. He'll want something to happen now. Šeško, if he was willing. Šeško's more of a project, I think, player. He's somebody who would, in maybe a couple of seasons start hitting the numbers that Gyökeres could hit now. But there is, again, a concern that can he go from the Portuguese league, because we know there's some players have come from there. You just look at Darwin Núñez, for example, to come into the Premier League, and he's a stocking. So there's no guarantees. But out of all of them, you want Isaac, but I'm happy that out of the other 2 that it's Gyökeres that we're looking at. But don't get me wrong, I would also take Šeško, but I just think for now, Gyökeres.
I think you're right. It's that now thing. We have to start winning something. I think from next season, it's you want the now stuff. So happy. I just want some. We don't want just a body, but we want someone of quality. Interesting with if we did get Isak, if we did, I mean the numbers and all the rest of it, he has to be a surefire starter. So it'll be interesting if we did, what would happen with Havertz then, and how does Havertz fit into all of this? Now, that's not for us to worry about, but it would be just an interesting thing. Whereas, if Gyökeres comes in, then they share the load. Havertz can easily fall back into number 8 position and stuff like that. So it'll be an interesting dynamic. And you're right. Especially if Newcastle get Champions League, then there's no chance of getting Isak. And in a way, I'd rather they did. So we didn't have. I just don't want us to be chasing him, and then we lose out on other players, and then we're screwed now. And I know things happen in parallel and all that, but we have this that it could be a whole saga, and then Newcastle said have us in the string, and it doesn't happen. So yeah, I think you've got to bite the bullet at some point. There's going to be doubts about everyone. Isaac's injury. Gyökeres, can he do it? Sesko's young, so at some point you just have to bite the bullet because the striker market is very, is not particularly great at the moment. And then, as I said, there was rumours today that Berta's been chatting. And I don't know if you've got kids, but that means something completely different to what I thought chatting meant with Nico Williams today. So that relationship is blossoming by all accounts. So talking with the team and that could be exciting. So that could be your project player. That could be, as you said, someone that's got that X factor and about that, because you don't want to fill your team with another 21-year-olds that you're having to develop, and they'll be ready in 2 years' time. So
and that's the other benefit of going for somebody like Gyökeres is the money element of it. It enables you to sign at least one other player, whereas if you're throwing 120, 130, 140 million at Isak, you are giving up another player somewhere along the line.
The only reason I'd want to get Isak is so Liverpool don't get him. That's
the fear.
Yeah, can you imagine the fans just losing their mind if he went to Liverpool? It would be like unbelievable. But let's see. So anyway, look, that's all in the future. That's for the summer, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot. Come May, June, July, etc., etc. So look, we got Everton at the weekend. I said the early afternoon kickoff on the Saturday. So Ian, what are you looking forward to? Not looking forward to as far as the Everton game is concerned?
I'm looking forward to Saka getting more minutes into him ahead of the Real Madrid game, and hopefully, him just being ready then to take off against Madrid. I'm not looking forward to, it's going to be a tough game, but I'm just not looking forward to any other potential, life throwing lemons at us in terms of injuries. I just hope, because it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a tough game. The Everton crowd, they've only a few games left at Goodison Park. It's going to be hard, so I'm not looking forward to that. But if we're professional and we just do our job, we should come away with 3 points.
Okay, interesting. So look, to be honest, I'm not really sure if I'm looking forward to anything. I just want the game to be over with no further injuries.
Yeah.
And if we can take a point, 3 points, great. I just and maybe I'm looking forward to the fact that it's our last game at Goodison Park, because I don't think I've ever enjoyed. I mean, I've never been there personally, but I've never enjoyed Arsenal going there. It just never feels like one of those games or grounds that you go to and this should be fine, no matter how bad Everton are, because
it's never a gimme. It's never a gimme.
Yeah, and there's just something about them, and so maybe those are the things I'm looking forward to. In terms of not looking forward to, Everton being Everton, they seem to always give us a tough game. They're on a really good run of form at the moment, not lost in 9, currently drawing 0-0 with Liverpool, goal disallowed and hit the post, so they're not doing too badly, but at least it's not Dyche ball. Yes, but it's going to be a difficult one. I would just get out with a minimum amount of fuss, and even if we lost and everyone stayed fit, I'd sort of half take that. I don't want to ever give up any points, but you sort of potentially would take that. So here's the question with so it's obviously the game before Real Madrid on Tuesday. At least we've got a bit more extra time to recover. What do you think? How do you think we should do our lineup? So particularly Well, how do we use Everton as an opportunity to prepare and practice, especially the back four, or do you just go in and save everyone and see what happens? How would you approach this?
Yeah, it is a really tough one because the injuries, if all of them are injured, like if Ben White and Timber are injured, would not have been, as well obviously as Gabriel, they would not have been part of the plan, because Arteta would have been looking at last night's game and the game this weekend as preparation for Madrid. But if these injuries are all going to happen, it just throws a cat in amongst the pigeons. So, and how much practice can you get out of a makeshift back four, in one game? So I have no idea what way. I know the front line and the midfield. If you assume he's not going to put any midfielders in defence, the front line and the midfield will stay the same as it did last night. It's just a case of who makes it at the weekend in terms of defenders. I don't think he'll start Saka. I think he'll bring him on, potentially maybe give him a full half, but yeah, it's just that the big one is going to be what's going to happen in defence.
Yeah, I mean, even if Timber's fit, do you play him?
Yeah,
Hopefully White was a niggle, so maybe you play White. I don't know. Look, Arteta's going to win every game. He doesn't do, unless it's ridiculous. He doesn't. He doesn't forfeit games or throw away games and all the rest of it. So other than things like, of course, against PSV when the game's won, it's fine, and or the Carabao Cup it's fine. But Everton away, old club, old ties, wants to go there, respect the game, respect the tournament. He goes strong. He does that all the time. We know we know his MO. I think we have to use it as preparation. So if the team that's going to be available against Madrid are available on Saturday, I think he goes with that, because I think if Kivior's going to play, him and MLS need minutes. They need to form the relationship. So I think they play. He needs to form the relationship with Saliba. So Saliba plays. So yeah, I think he's one for. These are footballers. They play football. People don't all get injured all the time. Like, we're having a bad run of luck, but people play football. Again, we're so fearful of people getting injured that we don't want them to play. Well, and also if we're playing badly or we're losing and get stuffed by Everton, all of a sudden, it changes the dynamics. So, look, it's an important fixture. Again, some people may not care for third, care for fourth, care for second. I do. So, I think we go win the game and let the cards fall where they fall. The one thing though, it's going to be difficult, because I think Moyes has got his team speech written already for him, because he's going to be saying, look, our minds are on Madrid, and we won't want to get injured, and he will stress that is on our mind, and he'll stress what happened to Gabriel. He'll stress that our defense will be vulnerable, and they will go for it. They won't fear us. I said it's not dice ball, but they're going to be very direct. They're going to play on the counters. They're going to be tough. They're going to test us, and it'll be interesting to see how they're like. I've got no fear for Rice. Rice will just do what he does, but how do the players, Odegaard, Martinelli, Marino, all these players that want to play against Madrid with Fulham in mind, how much are they really going to give? How much are they going to, be 100% going to challenges?
And especially with the league situation, if Liverpool win tonight, it's 0-0 as we speak. Second half has just started, but all that will be in their heads. There's no doubt about it. It's the Madrid the Madrid type games are the ones you want to be involved in, and you saw how disappointed Gabriel was last night. Our lads won't want that, but at the same time they're professionals and they'll have to get on with it.
Yeah, but it's human nature. It's human nature. You're going in. Tarkovsky's there. There's a ball to be won. Do you go in?
Yeah,
maybe not. But which is actually in a way worse, because again they often talk about that thing about if you go into a challenge sort of half-hearted, then you're more likely to get injured than if you go full-blooded. So look, it will be. I think we'll have possession. They're not a pressing team. I think it'll be very much like the home game where they frustrated the hell out of us. They will defend well, but So they're not a pressing team, but they're big on tackles, big on interceptions, and then they're very direct. They go long. They don't carry the ball much, and they attack down the wing, using the fullbacks, using the wingers, getting the ball into the middle, or into the final third and into the box. Pickford likes to launch it. They're the second lowest in possession in the Premiership. So look, yeah, it's the one thing that will benefit us. I think it will be defense against attack, and again, we just need to get that breakthrough, and then we'll see. So I think it's going to be an interesting game. And look, since Moyes has taken over, they've been on a great run. I think he joined on the 11th of January, and they're on their best unbeaten run, which is 9 league games. Which is their longest run since 2016, 2017, since Ronald Koeman. A lot of them are draws. So I think they drew with West Ham, drew with Everton, drew with Brentford, drew with Man United, beat Palace at Palace, drew with Liverpool, beat Leicester, beat Brighton at Brighton, beat Tottenham, but who doesn't? And yeah, their last defeat was January 15th at home against Villa. So look, they're 15th in the league. So look, they want to, if they win, they go above Man United into 13th, above Tottenham. So I know they seem to be draw specialists. Their last 4 games draws. I would take a draw now and go. If someone offered me a point, I'll take it and let's shake hands and go. And do you know what a point gives us on Saturday?
Has it something to do with the tiny tots down the road?
It is indeed. It will be St. Totteringham's Day if we get a point on Saturday. So that might be a nice little celebration on the socials. So
yes, I love St. Totteringham's Day. It winds so many Spurs fans up. It's great.
Let's hope it happens. And I think also another benefit on our side is that guess who's injured for Everton?
Ooh, go on.
Calvert-Lewin.
Oh.
What a surprise.
How did I not guess that? How do I not guess that?
I can't believe it. Hamstring. But also Dwight McNeil, who's tricky down the wings. And I think they're one of their best players, Ndiaye. So if you look at their top scores, so he's their top-rated player. Not particularly high, but he's their second, equal top scorer with Beto. And then top assist is Dwight McNeil, but only with 3. But so they've got a couple of injuries that could benefit us. Benefit us. So yeah, I think it'll be a tricky game. If you give me a point now, I'd take that and say thank you very much. Good night.
I'll wait until for another 40 minutes and see what happens in this Liverpool Everton game, and then I'll tell you whether I take that or not.
No, indeed. So any thoughts on the game and predictions?
I'm going to go with a very simple 1-0 to the Arsenal. This is probably the not well. I was going to say this is the epitome of a trap game. It's not really. Everton are a good side, but with Madrid on the horizon, we will have eyes on that, and I don't think it's going to be a classic. It won't be a classic, so I'm just going to go for a simple 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, I'll go with another. I'm going to go 1-1. This is just seems to have draw written all over it. So I'm going to go 1-1, considering their results, considering who we are at the moment, where we are. It's away. I will take that. I will take that. So look, an hour and 7 in. I think we've done quite all right. I'm feeling better. Mostly because I'm just not thinking about it.
I was going to say you owe me £50 for that session.
That's cheap therapy. That is. There's no problem. I'll get you a couple of pints when I see you next. So look, there we go. Good to chat with you, Ian. Thank you for helping me improve my mood. That's a pleasure. So look, before we say goodbye, where can people find you?
Pleasure chatting to you as well, Tabs. It was a tough night in the end, but just injury wise. But everybody can find me at Art Cannon Picks on all the social media platforms. Okay, so send your cannons, your cannons to Ian, and you'll get a show on the social. So that, always nice to see them. Some good ones recently. So look, you can follow the Grove on Threads and Blue Sky at the Grove AFC. So and look, if you like what you're listening to, even if you don't like what you're listening to and you've made it this far, then please like, subscribe,
do all the usual things that help promote the podcast. Come and chat with us on the socials. And there we go. So look, next show will be post Everton, pre the big one versus Real Madrid, when we'll have a better idea of whether me or Ian are called up to play centre backs.
Yeah, I'm filling out a donor form here for my hamstring to give it to Gabriel. I just don't know if it'll get to him on time. That's all.
Indeed. Well, let's hope so. So look, thank you for that. So look, thanks again, Ian. A pleasure as always, and
You're welcome.
we will speak to you, listeners, very soon, either Saturday or Sunday. So until the next time, come on, you Gunners.